Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoterica and our continuing series, The Unported Playlist, where we take a look at some of my favorite unported arcade games of all time. And today we have Wild Riders, released in 2001 by Sega on the Naomi 2 platform. Before we get too far involved, you could do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And if you're so inclined, we have a Patreon link below as well if you want to support the channel. But I will say Wild Riders is an absolutely awesome game, yet I only ever saw it in arcades once. I played it, I loved it, I never saw it again, so I'm assuming this was not a hit for Sega because I've never seen another arcade cabinet for it again, and it was quite large because it had a full-size motorcycle attached to the front with handlebars. But if you ever played Jet Grind Radio or Jet Set Radio, depending what region you're in, you're going to see that Sega has again employed that cel-shaded art style, which makes this game feel kind of like a grungy comic book. And the control system is quite simple. You can jump your bike, you can slide your bike, and you can turn your bike left and right. Short of that, gas and brake are your only other controls, so it's extremely easy to get into the game, and it is extremely difficult to get good at it, because you can practice the same course over and over again, because it's the only one in the game. You have to go from start to finish, just like Outrun, but getting there and staying away from the police that are pursuing you is the most difficult thing, and you'll see here, we jumped that pool, and we did it perfectly, so we get a little bit more ahead of our pursuers. If you make any mistakes, that number starts going down, and when it gets to 0, you were apprehended and you did not win the game. And that is the only mechanic. Stay as far in front of the police as you can, try not to hit anything, and try to win. And you'll see that this game throws a ton of stuff at you. There's so many obstacles, there's so many cop cars to avoid. It's just an absolute panic mess. And that's what I love so much, is this game is, 5 to 6 minutes of frantic action. Had I jumped that bridge better, I wouldn't have had to hit the upslope, and I would have gotten a little bit further away from the police. And learning this game and replaying it, it's one of those things that if you continually did it, you would get so good at it, you could probably avoid absolutely everything and have what the game would consider a perfect run. And that's what I love about it so much, is that it's a very short game that has infinite replayability, and with emulation you can just sit there and play it over and over and over again, get good at it, and really enjoy it, because it is an awesome experience. And why did this not get ported home? Well, I would assume, one, because in 2001 the Dreamcast was dead, and maybe Sega put it on the PlayStation 2, but it's a really short game and they would have had to make so much more, because if you release this, even as a budget release on the PlayStation 2, people really wouldn't be happy if it only lasted 6 minutes and then the game was over. So it makes perfect sense why this didn't make it home. There just wasn't enough game for a console. But in arcades, you drop $1 in, you play it for 5 minutes, you're done. You're going to feel like you're getting your money's worth. But that is just Wild Riders. It's a pursuit game, but they've done a great job of really diversifying the levels. You have so many different obstacles you have to weave back and forth through these trees here, and it does have different paths. You can stay on this top path here and try to make a really tight turn, and if you do, you'll stay further away from the police, or you can just jump this embankment right here, slide down to this barricade, which is easier because it's wider but has more things to avoid, and then you have to bust through these panda suit men and get back on the road. And I love how much different visuals it's throwing around. It moves fast, it plays great, and there's a ton of stuff to look at, although I think Sega's kind of slyly trying to get you to actually screw up and eat through more corners, because you really don't want to be looking at the visual effects and the weird characters that are on the side of the street, because if you're looking not what's in front of you, you're definitely going to crash. Like right there, I just held that slide too long and I went in the wall. It kind of has like that frantic Mario Kart feel to it, except without having power-ups. There are no power-ups throughout the entire game, all you're doing is avoidance, but it has that same sort of squeaking by the skin of your teeth feeling, and when you're playing the game really well, it feels absolutely incredible. Like this sequence here, I'm just able to weave and navigate through everything and really get further ahead of the police that are pursuing me. And I make the slide underneath these right here, pop back up, and everything felt really good. And that's the most fun that this game offers, is that when you're playing it well, it's just a great experience. When you're playing it poorly, like I screw that jump up right there, we are almost caught. And the game is fair. It gives you a little bit of a chance to catch back up and to get further away from the police, because you can see I was down to 10 meters before my apprehension, and it gave me one shot to drive perfectly for about 10 seconds to be able to continue to play. And luckily I did that, and I start playing a little bit better, and I have a little bit more of a chance. And that's just the great thing about this game, is it's always frantic, your heart's beating, and you're just trying to stay ahead of that counter above. And it's just basically constantly counting down and telling you you're about ready to lose. I will say you'll see here in the emulation, it does hitch now and again, and that's just because Naomi 2 emulation isn't perfect, but it is so close to perfect that you're really going to be able to enjoy it the best you can. And the way that the emulators cache these games, the second and third time you play them, that hitching is going to go way down because it's actually stored some of it in memory in the emulator for you. So if you are emulating Naomi or Naomi 2, your second playthrough is going to be a lot smoother than your first. But I will say that Naomi emulation isn't perfect, especially the Naomi 2, because it had a lot more chips in it than the original Naomi. Basically, they just increased the amount of processors and video processors to have dual GPUs in there. But the Naomi 2 didn't get a ton of releases compared to the original Naomi, so having something like Wild Riders to play is a lot of fun because it's a great game, it looks awesome, and outside the little bit of hitching, it's just a great experience. If you like arcade racing games, you're going to love this. Just try not to crash right there like I did because it totally screwed me over. Beating this game, I wasn't able to do it for the capture. I got incredibly close to the end, but unfortunately I wasn't able to succeed. You'll see here I slide under this gate, I have another one to slide under, and I am so incredibly close to the end, but I hit the gate and I unfortunately end up apprehended. And that's the worst feeling when you've almost gotten to the end of a game and you get nailed at the very last second. It drives me nuts. I felt like I was so close and I just missed the jump, and that's it for me. And you'll see here on the map in the end, I was so incredibly close to getting to the end of the game and it kills me. But this game is a ton of fun. I highly recommend it. What I'm going to let you do now is just watch it from start to finish on my second run so you can hear the music because it's got a great soundtrack and effects, and I'll come back and close the video in a second. But that's Wild Riders. Enjoy listening to the music. Be right back. So that is Wild Riders, guys. I highly recommend you play this game. If you ever see an arcade cabinet, definitely play it because it was rare when it came out and it's only gotten rarer in the intervening years because this game is shockingly almost 20 years old, but it still looks absolutely incredible because cell shading doesn't really age the same way the graphics did that were just standard 3D graphics from back then. And you can game the system a little bit as opposed to sliding underneath those gates. You can turn here through the sidewalk. That gives you a little bit more of a challenge. But if you do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring the notification bell. It takes a lot of time and energy to make each one of these episodes. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I love chatting with you guys. But short of that, we will be back on Tuesday and Friday with more videos, and I will have another unported arcade game for you guys on Sunday, because you seem to really be enjoying that. But Wild Riders, Sega always makes awesome arcade racers, and this is no different. And again, I got almost to the end of the game, and I managed to screw it up in the last few seconds. And that's the most painful experience of all. But hope you guys are having a great weekend. We'll see you Tuesday, Friday, and next Sunday with more videos. Short of that, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. I got caught.